Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it is my friend Alicia Cooper, comedian extraordinaire and director extraordinaire. Hey, how are you, Alicia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad you're here. You and Dominique are on today. Well, you're. Oh, there she. Oh, look at her making a dramatic entrance.
Hey, Dom.
Hey Alicia, hey Sibby Sib.
Hey, Dominique, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited you ladies are here. Alicia, you have a movie that you're going to tell us about. What is it?
Yes, the movie is called We Got Ours, and it is so funny. Oh my goodness. I just got finished watching the cut. It should be done by the first week of May,
Okay.
complete by early May. And my colorist has it, and he sent me over some of the stuff that he colored. And it is so good and it is so funny. And Dominique is one of the stars of it, and she is hilarious. So it's all coming together. It's all coming together. It's we're gonna put it in a lot of the big festivals. Now, one of the main ones that we're entering it into is Cannes Film Festival, but it's the Cannes Film Festival for people of color, and it's led by Viola Davis. So that's
Oh,
one of
that's
the first ones we're
awesome.
get into. And the prerequisite for that is it cannot be any longer than 15 minutes. So we went into it knowing that's one of the places we wanted to submit it, and it
Uh-huh.
will fall under the correct parameters. But we're just excited. We're hitting up all the big ones.
So this is a short.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we got
And it's
ours.
also a proof of concept because what I want to do with it is I want to turn it into a 6 or 8 episode series.
Oh, nice.
And we have some interest, but we just have to finish it.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. I know I really appreciate you all coming on today. I know that we had some scheduling stuff, but I'm really glad that we're on and able to talk about it and find out what we can do to help you in getting the word out about We Got Ours and about a young lady by the name of Pinky.
That's funny. See,
That would be your character, would it not be,
that would
Dom?
be my character,
Okay,
Pinky,
okay.
and she rocks the pink. Pink.
All right then. Very well. She rocks the pink from head to toe.
She
I
rocks
understand.
that from head to toe. See,
Cool. This is also Coy Malone Day. Coy is one of our young contributors in the What You Need to Know newsletter, and she is our social justice contributor. And we talk about the stories and things that she participates in the What You Need to Know newsletter. We'd love to have you subscribe to the newsletter. It's absolutely free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Coy is our social justice contributor. Cameron Riley is a political contributor. His little sister, Quinn Townsend Riley, is our LGBTQ plus contributor, and Aprilette Russell is our mental health and wellness contributor. And it is a lot of fun to have a lot of young blood, as you know, Alicia, and especially in terms of some very serious topics. Coy is one of those who is steadfast in her ability to report these stories, which are not very happy more often than not, as you might imagine, with social justice, but they are necessary. And Coy does a really good job. And as a matter of fact, she is also part of a real effort to inform and empower people regarding the upcoming election in November, telling them, and we all know that the presidential election is happening in November every 4 years, but there are other offices where people will be running for office, and she not only tells what the offices are, but what the jobs are of these people who are running for office. And most recently, if you go to my Instagram or to Coy's Instagram, you can see her in a wig shop talking about the Jim Crow laws and how difficult it is for people, or it was for our people, to vote, and how some things never change, and today it is still the same. The challenges are still there, and not even allowing us to have ham sandwiches or water while people are standing in line. It's hot, and they're tired, and they're just doing their civic duty, and they're being denied their civic rights to cast a vote. So
Mhm.
check her out, as well as please subscribe to our newsletter as we endeavor to really talk about what's going on in our country, and as well as what's in our newsletter. So we appreciate that. And as I said, it is absolutely free. It makes for a great gift, and we'd love to have everyone subscribe. And we'll even throw your birthday in there. We'll let people know when your birthday is. If that is important to you, then absolutely we will do it. One of the things that I like to talk about is politics. But as I said, Coy is, and I talked this weekend about some things that went on. The attack on Israel by Iran, and it was an attack inside Iran, which is unusual. But they were it was an attack that was as a result of what happened in the April 1st, in which the country of Israel had an attack of missiles on one building that killed a number of high-ranking soldiers, Iranian soldiers, and so that was their way of retaliating. And now we're just kind of like waiting to see what's going to happen. Are they going to attack again? Is Iran going to say, okay, you know, we did that, you did that, are we square, or are we going to have to go back and show who's the mightier war power here? And my point in telling this story was that we have a leader right now in the president who is measured and temperate in his response, and he is saying, you know what, you had no one die, thanks to our country as well as others like Great Britain. We were able to push those the bombs that you had. We were able to deflect them, and they did not do any damage. One child was hurt, but let's just take the win and walk away. But that's not the way Israel is set up these days. And so we're just kind of holding our breath to see what's going to happen, and how will other countries like the United States, which has been a real partner to Israel over the generations, and how they will respond. Will they come and say, "Hey, I got your back," or will they say, "You know what? We did what we could with you with Hamas, and it did not turn out well." So this is where we are, and so we're all kind of holding our breath and to see what happened. The second story is about the case of the people of the state of New York versus Donald Trump. And that case began today, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, in which Donald Trump is the first president or former president to face criminal charges in a case in a court of law. And so this started today, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Welcome, Coy. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
You look cute.
Thank you.
I like your hair.
Hey, Coy.
Hey, how you doing, Alicia? Hey,
All
Sybil.
right.
So, Coy, tell us about your story. And of course, not happy because it involves my hometown, Chicago, and just another horrific shooting by Chicago police over what now appears to be an innocent Black man in his car.
Yes, and I came across this story. As soon as I did, I decided to put it in the newsletter. It's very, very sad and horrific. And it's about 26-year-old Dexter Reed, who was shot and killed by police at a traffic stop in Chicago, Illinois on March 21st of this year. Authorities claim that this man fired first at police, and they released body camera footage which showed several officers apparently or allegedly returning fire a total of 96 gunshots in 41 seconds.
Say that again.
96 gunshots in 41 seconds.
And they say that he was stopped because he was not wearing his seatbelt. The question is, how could they tell he was not wearing a seatbelt? His windows were darkened, and if this is what you're going to stand on, you at least make the lie a credible one. And the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is investigating the shooting, and sadly, it may turn out that these police are not charged in this awful murder, because that is often the way that we find it, Coy. But there is hope that the officers be relieved of their duties as recommended by the Office of Police Accountability.
Right. And the superintendent, Larry Snelling of Chicago Police Department, said that the officers for now will keep their powers. He
Yeah.
said he doesn't want to judge what's going on until the facts have been determined through the investigation, which kind of differs from what the Civilian Office of Police Accountability is saying, because they did recommend that the officers be relieved of their duties. So there's already conflicting information within the department itself, which is very strange because usually we see, all across the board, everybody is agreeing on what needs to happen to the officers. So that's very interesting, and I just don't see what justifies, 96 gunshots in 41 seconds. Apparently, from some of the research I did, and I could be incorrect, but correct me if I'm wrong, but Dexter Reed Jr. was also, I believe, paralyzed from another
Mhm.
incident. He had other lawsuits out against different complaints with the police department, if I'm not mistaken, that were already in progress. And there were other complaints against the same officers as well that have been logged just because of other traffic stops where officers in the same tactical unit were accused of using excessive force. They were also accused of conducting police stops that were pretty much unlawful, or just the way that they went about conducting the stops were awful. So this isn't the only incident that these officers are under investigation for. This just happens to be the worst one.
Mhm. Now, you ladies are from the DMV, Alicia, if I'm not mistaken. I know Dominique is.
Yes.
These cases are not unknown, and they're not foreign to a lot of our inner cities and what have you. But it just boggles the mind that this kind of attack on a man, whether and there is some question about how capable he was of handling his own physicality, but it just boggles the mind that 96 shots in 41 seconds.
Mm.
I don't. It doesn't really boggle my mind. See, it's normal to me at this point.
This should not be normal,
Unfortunately,
no.
I
Yeah.
know, but it happens all the time. You know how many times we have been in this cycle. I definitely think we need to continue to talk about this cycle. It
Hmm.
has to be talked about, because if you don't talk about it, it'll considerably get worse.
Hmm.
But it's just like, it's almost like nobody cares. It's nothing being done about it. Nobody is doing anything to the officers. It's like, even when this happens in our community, this how cold blooded it is, and how much I think they do not care. When we have a child, brother, husband, or somebody killed by the police, they want us to come out and talk to the press to calm the situation down, and essentially in our own way say, it's okay, they
Mm.
gonna work it out, it's okay. Have his wife and his family come out there and ask what was his problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? So until the government steps in, or somebody, they just get away with it. Sometimes they get fired, sometimes they don't. We watch them de-escalate with white folk all the time. They slam black women. If we try to step in and say don't do that, they pick us up and slam us to the ground. They run all over like a cartoon behind white people. So
Hmm.
like, how do we get this to change? What do we have to do to get this to change? Because the United States of America, it's like really not at the top of their list.
Well,
Right.
in a lot of these cities, they say, well, if we get a black police chief, that'll change things, and and
No.
and and, and it
Right.
doesn't. It's the
And with
same
this
thing.
with this Chicago case, I'd be curious to know how many of these officers were also involved in the Laquan McDonald
That was
shooting.
my thought too, Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was no consequences for that.
right.
No real consequences.
Laquan McDonald, a young man that was walking along the streets of Chicago and was shot 17 times, if I'm not mistaken, in the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the police
And
claimed
if it wasn't for the Burger King cameras, they would
that's
have got
right.
that too.
Yeah.
They would have gotten away with that, and that propelled a lot of changes, including in the not only for the mayor's office but also for the district attorney's office, the Cook County District Attorney's Office, and calling this case because charges were not levied initially against these police, and a young black boy just decimated right in front of our eyes, thanks to the cameras, as you say, Alicia. Coy,
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I was going to ask Coy a question.
Go ahead.
Coy, have you heard a narrative surrounding this case that he may have shot at them? Is that a narrative around this
Yeah,
case?
that's what they're
Okay.
saying. They're saying that he shot first.
Okay, I was just
And
wondering.
so they returned fire. That's what is alleged. And I'm wondering
Yes.
how true is that, because was there a weapon recovered, or I haven't read anything like that saying anything about a weapon or nothing.
And even from the video that I saw, he rolled down the window. Now,
Right.
Coy said something that I didn't know. He's a paraplegic.
So
So
that is one of the stories that I've heard. I haven't heard that confirmed. Have you, Coy?
I haven't heard that confirmed. I need to go back and do a little bit more research, but apparently he was paralyzed from some sort of incident, I believe the year before, maybe a couple of years before.
And one of the things was he rolled down his window, then he rolled his window up and started to move. And so what was he doing? Was he moving? Was he shooting? Or what caused them to decide that 96 shots needed to be made in 41 seconds?
And he rolled his window up. How about when you're a black man, a black woman in this society, you should be afraid, shouldn't you? When
Absolutely.
they start surrounding you and get out the car and they got guns and everything pointed on you, this whole notion that we don't feel pain and that we're not afraid and we don't have normal emotion, it's nonsense.
Right. Well, Coy, I know you'll stay on this story as you do and follow up as this goes along, because I know in Chicago they're not letting up on this, and so I'd appreciate you following up as well. Also on Monday we have Ministry Monday. Our friend Willie Mae McIver gives us the word for those of us that didn't make it to church yesterday. Today she talks about the armor of God and what that means, and representing the defense we must take up in our spiritual lives to ward off the attacks of Satan, or folks know him as the devil or the enemy. And so take a look at that. 7 parts for the non-tangible armor of God, and the gospel of peace, the shield of faith, are also included in that. These are all a part of the newsletter. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. We'd love to have you subscribe. Give us your name, your email address. We'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Let's move to the what's really going on section. And that is why my friends are here. Alicia Cooper, director, and Dominique, actress, both comedians, fine comedians. And Alicia, is this your first feature?
Oh, well, no, this is actually my 4th short film. The first one was called Trade. The second one was called Just Us. The third one was Fat Stripper. And then this one is We Got Ours.
We Got Ours.
Yeah, this is the first one that I wanted to do on a bigger scale with celebrities.
And celebrities being all your comedian friends.
Yes.
We had a good time too.
Yeah, I had to get the names. I had to shoot for the moon with this one, and everybody was so amazing.
And how did you decide that first of all, what's the storyline?
Well, the storyline is actually Dominique. Oh, good, you got the post up. That's the poster. So you see who's in it. It's Dominique, Michael Collier, Real Battle. He's also from DC. Lou Nail, Flame Monroe, Omar Gooding, Cuba Gooding's brother, and Ben Morrison. And Ben Morrison is a comic who graduated from NYU Tisch School of the Arts and Acting, and he was just fabulous. So everybody just brought their A game, and it actually started from a conversation I was having with Dominique. So Dominique, tell them about the so Dominique has story by credit in this. So tell them about what you laughing about one day, Dominique.
So that's why I have story by credit. We were just talking one day, and I was telling her the story of I was on the road with the late great Simply Marvelous. I think it was another colleague of ours, Kenny Howe, and there were some other comics that I don't really think I recognized them. So this particular promoter, and it's ironic, he just called me few weeks ago. You available? I'm not ever working for you again. I'm never available for you. Are you kidding me? You might be different, but the old you is in my mind. And so
this same promoter got me at a different time.
Got her at a different time. So he has a history of this. But I mean, he might be a new man and all, but I don't care. I remember the old man, and that's what I'm sticking with. So I was telling her the story. We working for him. So we all sitting out there. And this is years ago. I don't work like this anymore. So we all sitting out there. And so it's time for the show. So we're like, okay, anybody get paid? And so we talking, all of us talking. So Simply was like, well, if I don't get paid, I'm not going nowhere. So I said, well, I'm not going on either, Simply. So Kenny comes up and said, well, we need to all stick together. We're stronger in numbers. And, if we stick together, he can't have a show. And so we were like, okay, we stick together. Well, time moves on. We're talking. He's walking back and forth, doing the normal thing. Y'all want some chicken wings. Y'all want some. Y'all thirsty? No, we're not thirsty, hungry. All those things have been covered. Payment has not. So one by one, he said, come here, Simply. So Simply went back there. Dominique, come here. So me and Simply come out. Our whole attitude different. He straight, he took care of us, right? So everybody else, like, just we sitting there and we all talking. So it's time. He comes out and tells Simply's hosting the show. Okay, we can go ahead and start the show. So Simply said, all right. She get up, she straightens herself out. And so I'm just sitting there looking. So Kenny was like, wait a minute, y'all got paid? Simply said, yeah, we got paid. So y'all gonna start the show even though we didn't get paid?
Right.
So Simply said, what the hell I look like not starting the show and the man didn't pay? The man paid me. And Alicia put all this on paper. She put this on paper. She talked to me. She said, I'm going to put it on paper. You go get story by. And she put it on paper, made it very, very funny. And herein lies, we got ours.
Wow. So
it's a true story, Sid.
And it's one night in a comedy club, Alicia?
Yes, one night, one show. Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. So Alicia, we know that you've been on before and you talked with us about your interest in directing, and I know that you've been an apprentice director as well as some of the other things that you've done. Is that going to be your forte? Is that your area of interest that you're going to pursue, or are you going to?
Yeah, I would love to be able to do that full time. Yes, and I've been able to shadow some really great directors. Ken Whittingham, he started out as a stage manager on Malcolm and Eddie. And then he was the only one that could wrangle Eddie, so he got promoted to director, and the rest was history. So I shadowed him. I shadowed a young lady named Rachel Lee Goldenberg. She's done a bunch of films, and then she moved into the HBO world and started on a bunch of the HBO series. So I shadowed her on a series called HBO Max. So I've been around people that are doing this at a very high level. And one thing I realized is when you do it at a high level, you have all the tools in the toolbox. You have every toy at your disposal. If you know what you're doing, you have the support system to make it work. So, we do everything in a run and gun, independent kind of manner, and we're still getting it done. But if we had 2% of what they getting over there to do what they're doing, it would make all the difference.
How can those of us who know and love you, ladies, how can we support you in this?
Well, we actually have a Finishing Funds crowdfunding link going. We're on a site called Indiegogo, INDIEGOGO.com. And if you just type in "We Got Ours," and you can make a contribution to the finishing funds of the project, we'd appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Greatly appreciated.
Indiegogo is a really great crowdfunding site. A friend of mine's son is a senior in college, and he was able to not get all the funds that he wanted, but he was able to finish his his Spider-Man movie that he did, and he's about to graduate from college in just a few weeks. But we're just so proud, and that this really enables people to put the word out and to kind of spread the word too about young people like you who are just trying to, you've got a product and you believe in it, and we just need this much to get us over the line, to get the finishing line. Like you mentioned your colorist. That's not somebody that just does your hair. No.
And see, the good thing about doing it this way, it's a lot harder, but at least you're able to maintain creative control.
Right.
Because if you go ask somebody else and they give you the money, now they own it and they want to change it. It doesn't look anything like your initial vision, and it's a mess at that point. So it's best to just grind it out and do it yourself.
What's been the biggest challenge for you, Alicia, in doing this?
Biggest challenge? You know, it's the same challenge that you always have when you're doing something independent. You want to do it on a grander scale.
Sure.
At this point, you got to figure out a way to do it on a scale that you have the ability to do it on. But we know where we want to take it, and we know where it's going to end up. So this is almost like a proof of concept in a certain sense. So you can see the characters. The characters, every one of those characters are three-dimensional, and they're hilarious and interesting in their own ways. So I want you to buy into the characters, and that's what this allows you to do. So, you know, the challenge was just getting everything done and with credits within 15 minutes.
Yeah. And did you have to provide the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as a part of craft services?
Them people would have let me have it. They ate good. Yeah. That's one thing I was always taught about independent filmmaking. At least feed them.
At least.
Well, yeah.
If you can't do anything else, don't at least feed your crew and your cast. So no, we were good with that. If I put out some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, somebody would have shot me.
The craft services was great though. It was.
Craft services was great. Yep. And we had 12 hours to get it all done, and we did it. We did it.
That's awesome.
The crew was great.
Tell me about your character, Pinky.
Oh, she's a comic. My character's Pinky's a comic. She's pretty much like me. She is. She's a comic. She's more flashy than I am. She wears all pink. You know, she has her pink get up. She's really representing I'm Miss Pinky. You know what I mean? So she's just like me, quick-witted, funny, those type of things.
And bear any resemblance to the comedian that plays her?
A lot, Sid. A lot, Sid. Yeah,
she's no nonsense about her business.
Right. You know, no nonsense about the business. But yeah, it's a lot. So it's pretty much me. You know, Alicia gives flexibility in that area. All directors don't, but she does give flexibility in that area. So like I'm working on a independent movie, and they want us to get the scene straight. You know, let's shoot it straight, like the dialogue, and then after that we can go play with it. So I love working for directors like that, because you're able to maximize your funny.
Right.
So
I'd just like to, you know her as a social justice fighter, but I'd also like to introduce you to a woman of stage and screen, one Coy Malone, who also has her credits as well. So keep her in mind for the next feature that you decide to do.
Keep her in mind for the series.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. She thinks she's a comedian, and she also is a dancer.
On a good day, I am.
Well, depends on the day, I guess. But also is starred in shows like what, P-Valley, Coy, and what else?
P-Valley, Boomerang, Bigger, a lot of stuff. Those are the ones I can think of right now. It's been so many.
Congratulations!
I can play anywhere from a high school. I can play anywhere from a high school student to a 30-year-old woman. Apparently,
I saw Coy on P-Valley. I was like, "Wait a minute, that's Coy."
Yes.
There you go. Alicia, you also worked on one of my favorite shows that did not make the cut this season, and I don't think that it was promoted properly, and that was The Current Wonder Years.
Yes, that's the one where I was able to work with Ken Whittingham. He was a producer director on The Wonder Years, and went down there, and it was wonderful. That I was so upset that a show of that caliber with that kind of quality couldn't make it.
Yeah,
and I'm
like, for sure. I mean, it got great reviews initially, and then that gosh darn Abbott Elementary just came in like a steamroller, and it became the black show on ABC. And then when they did show it, I think it was over the summer, but it was during the strike for sure, and they did not promote it, and they just kind of threw it out there.
They moved it. When they start moving your time slot, you're in trouble. People can't.
The handwriting is on the wall.
Oh,
and
goodness!
I think if you have Abbott Elementary and The Wonder Years, why can't they air on the same night back to back? You have TV, and we used to have all that kind of stuff. A Different World and Cosby Show, all that stuff was on the same night.
That's right.
Yeah, and and I was just doing some research on some Black sitcoms earlier today, and a lot of them said one of them in particular, A Different World, spoke about how when Martin came out, they started moving time slots, and it's almost like they were putting the shows against each other, even though they had the same audience. So I feel like that's kind of what happens with some Black sitcoms. It's still a pattern that's going on now, that, you know, new show comes out, they start moving time slots, it confuses the audience, they start losing audience. Next thing you know, the show is gone, it's canceled or whatever, just because of loss of viewership. So I kind of feel like that might have been the case too with Wonder Years, which was a very great show. I did some background on there too. And I mean, when I say they were to the T, when it came down to making sure that everything was correct to that time period, time frame, and to Black people, to lose something that in depth, like, both shows are great. Why can't we make room for both?
I mean, what's the problem?
And I'm like, but how do people win when they tank a show? Like, I thought the goal was to make it to syndication.
We all want to win, right? We all want to get to that 100 episodes or whatever it is.
Get to syndication now, but then they cut you off at the knees with no finale.
Right.
We can't even do that now.
No.
Right.
That's a shame. That's a shame. Another
All
show,
of them
and I try to support network TV shows. And one that I have supported was, well, two of them is The Neighborhood, said the Entertainer. And the one that follows it is Bob Hart's Abishola, which has an amazingly large Black cast. You know, it's
the Bob Hart's, that's the Chuck Lorre. They don't cancel his stuff.
They did
they'll keep it on there.
They canceled it.
They canceled it. This is the last season for it. And
but did it make it to syndication?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because it was 5 years, 5 seasons.
But that's all you need, right?
Is it 5? I thought it was 100.
You only need 88.
The other thing, Dom, is that it's 100 shows. It's 100 episodes, right?
100 episodes.
And they don't make that many episodes these days.
Oh, right. Well, the paperwork needs to be changed.
Well, you know, they'll take them little shows and put them on Netflix.
Yeah, and I hope they do, because not only was it a Chuck Lorre, but Gina, is it Yashere? As one of the executive producers of the show, as well as a star, and Vernee Watson, who is a long, acclaimed Black actress, and it's just so good. And they had all of these great Black and white characters in there, and really informing people about Nigerian way of life and the family dynamics and all of that. And they said that this was going to be the last season, and they were cutting the full-time characters to part-time status this season. So that's what I mean by we have to really keep people abreast and informed about all of these things, because if we don't talk about it, if we, and this takes me back to my days with Joyner, we had the campaign to save It's a Different World, because they were about to, Living Single was the initial one. And Living Single was our show. It represented us. And then they were going to cancel it. And then somebody said, no, you can't do this. And Warren Littlefield, who was the head of NBC, said, if they can't do this with Black people, maybe we can do it with white people. And they made it into Friends. And like, how are you going to cancel this show and then promote this other show? No. And we started a campaign to save Living Single, and it worked. I don't know if we still have that anymore to do it, but doggone it, I'm here to support you, Alicia and Dominique. And I want everybody to go to Indiegogo. And
yes, save We Got Ours.
That's right. We got ours. And I'm really glad. Tell people once again how you're going to go to the film festivals, and the one in particular you're going to.
Yeah, but we're putting in all the big ones. We're putting it in Pan African. We're putting it in Tribeca. We're putting it in Sundance. We're putting it in Martha's Vineyard, African American Film Festival, ABFF, and we're putting it in Cannes. The whole thing, but definitely the short film for minorities that's ran and spearheaded by Viola Davis. That's the one that we really have our eyes on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You go to Indiegogo, INDIEGOGO.com, and just type in "We Got Ours" and it'll come right up, and funding. And you guys are looking for a certain amount of money, and you're getting there, but you're not there yet. And whatever we can,
Yeah,
whatever
we're
we can put
trying to
in.
get to France. We want to go to Cannes in France and rub elbows with Viola Davis.
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely, and I love that she's doing that. Good for her. Good for
Yeah.
her. Yeah, we've got to support each other and do
We
that.
do.
And so come back and let us know how you're doing. This is a short campaign, so don't put it off,
Yeah.
folks. Here we are at
Yes.
the 15th. Let's get it together and let's, support our girls here and
Thank you.
and get this
Thank
done
you,
and
CBC.
support, Black women in the business. We have to be about lifting each other up. We absolutely do.
Yeah.
That's
And we
the
want to
only
go
way
to
we're gonna make it.
Right.
That's the only way we're gonna make it. We want to get a little boat. We want to go to Catalina. They got a Catalina Film Festival. Have you heard of that one? We can get on a little boat. We're gonna head to Catalina.
Right
Just go
across
across
the
go
ocean.
across.
Yeah, just cross the ocean a little bit. See?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Can you all hang out with us a little bit as we talk some more news?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Once again, "We Got Ours" is the name of the comedic short that Alicia Cooper is bringing to us, starring our girl Dominique. And it was she got a story credit on this because it's something that happened to Dom. And you can see Dom there in the poster in all pink, the lady in pink there from head to toe. And let's support our own, and let's get out there and support our girls. Let's do this. Absolutely. And a short window. So whatever you got, I put some money on the Powerball. I can certainly give some money to you ladies as well. Okay.
Thank you. We know you're gonna win that Powerball, Sid.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's talk about stories that are trending. And Coy, I was telling the folks before you got here about your efforts for working with Black Voters Matter and telling people as we're getting ready for this election season, not only about, it's much more than voting for the president. The further down you get on the ballot, more down ballot offices, as they call it, the greater an effect that these offices have on our lives. And so Coy has done a good job in explaining some of these offices. And most recently, you did one. Is that some hair you picked up when you did your
Yeah,
piece?
one
Okay.
of them.
It's cute though, Coy. It's
Thank
so
you.
cute.
And it's cute, but the story that she tells is really impactful, if I can say that word, because she gives a little bit of history regarding the Jim Crow laws that our grandparents lived with, and now how we are going through the same thing. It's not quite the same. It's not the ridiculous thing of guess how many jelly beans or guess how many bubbles on this bar of soap, but they are making it difficult for Black folks to get out there and vote.
The changes that are happening that I'm seeing are like, okay, wow. If you allow for these types of things to happen to one group, then it's going to spill over into others. So that's why it's very important for everybody to recognize that, hey, these changes, they do impact us the most because of the financial disparities that we tend to have more often in our communities. However, it's not limited to just us these days. Like one of the laws that I came across talks about how now there are further restrictions on homeless people in Georgia who are qualified voters, but now that there are more restrictions for them in order to register to vote. So we could be, eliminating entire populations. And then you have states like Alabama and Texas who have now made it a felony to collect absentee ballots. So
Right.
now
Yeah.
you have, elderly people that use absentee ballots because transportation issues, or just it's easier for them to vote from home. And now if you're not an immediate family member in one of the states and you're found collecting ballots, then you could be charged with a felony.
Yeah, that it's a collection, when people would have their mail-in ballots and their family member, especially like they talked about this during the pandemic. A family member said, "Well, I'll collect everybody's and I'll take them to the closest place where I can turn in all the ballots." And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no, you can't do that." And so they're making it more difficult, and because they understood that people were fearful during the pandemic of going to the polls, but they understood that these votes do count. And so we have to do everything to turn that around. And Houston was a one big area, Harris County. where Houston is a part of that county, was one of those areas where they said, no, you have to go within a certain appointed distance, and it has to be a person who's related and your immediate family, and putting all of these conditions on it to prevent people from casting their mail-in ballots.
It's so sad that these clowns would rather suppress the vote than do what it takes to legitimately earn your vote.
Right.
Yep, absolutely right. So check out Coy's videos, and every week she comes out with something different. So and working with Black Voters Matter, our friends at Black Voters Matter. So keep up the good work, Coy Malone.
Thank you.
Check this out. This is another voting related situation. Today it came down that Rudy Giuliani lost his bid to dismiss his $148 million defamation judgment in the Georgia election workers cases. You remember this? This case was won by the former Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and her daughter Wandrea Shea Moss. The mother and daughter were accused by Giuliani of committing election fraud in the presidential election in the state of Georgia. As they were counting ballots, they were just doing their civic duty, counting the ballots in Georgia's Fulton County on election day in 2020. Judge Beryl Howell delivered her ruling, and she said Giuliani's renewed motion urging this court to reverse its prior findings and rulings and to override the jury's considered verdict on the basis of 5 threadbare arguments falls well short of persuading that the evidence and all reasonable inferences that can be drawn therefrom are so one-sided that reasonable men and women could not have reached a verdict in the plaintiff's favor. When they came down with this $148 million verdict in favor of these 2 Black women, a mother and her daughter, Giuliani immediately filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy after losing the ruling. And now he has appealed, and now they said this judge, in her clear-headed verdict, said, nope, it doesn't work for me. So they're probably going to continue this case, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it go to the Supreme Court, as his friend Donald Trump is very quick to do.
And so the ruling, that's supposed to be money that goes to the 2 ladies
that he owes them.
Yeah. So why can't they just get his condo, his home in New York City? Because anything in New York City is a few million. So first he needs to sign the deed over to them.
And that's what everybody's saying, because he's saying, "Oh, I don't have the money. You know, I'm poor. You know." He's like the guy from Monopoly with your pockets pulled out, you know, and all that kind of stuff. People have gone through and said, "You have this house here. You have a house in Miami or Florida. You have this, that, and the other thing." And so, you know, give us what you got.
Yeah, remember the Black mother who beat the Klan and got the keys to the Klan complex? Yeah, she got the keys to the Klan.
Which is a great story.
Yeah. So get hand over them keys, Giuliani.
Right. They don't want to live in Manhattan. They just want to go back to their lives that they had before 2020, when, you know, when people were coming to their houses to perform citizens arrest or calling out their names and making them feel unsafe when they go on a regular outing or, you know, running an errand. So I say that, you know, I hope that they don't have to go to the Supreme Court, that he doesn't have the money to hire attorneys to take it to the Supreme Court, and that he has to spend the money and give these women. And if he doesn't have the 148, give them all you got.
Yeah.
I don't want him to go to jail for this. I want him to pay them.
Yeah, because he lost in a criminal case.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't civil like OJ's was civil.
Right.
His is criminal. So there's got to be consequences. That's why I love when people call him Giuliani, because he is a ghoul. Then turn the keys over, you ghoul.
He's a goon.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Don.
Justice is moving too slow for me with these.
Justice does move slowly. Right.
with them.
Yeah.
It moves very quickly and swiftly with us. But these people, it's getting on my nerves, because the handwriting is on the wall. Mm-hmm. And they always let them keep kicking the can down the road. Kick the can down the road. Kick the can down the road. Because as far as I'm concerned, Donald Trump should have been locked up for his behavior.
Well, that is another can that's very slow and trying to, you know, make the judge recuse himself today, even as late as today, the first day of court. You know, his people said, we want you, Judge Marchand, to to recuse yourself. He goes, no, I'm not doing that. What my daughter does is her life. This has to do with my ability to rule fairly and justly. And I can do that. And whatever you ask, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
It
these
ain't
people
happening.
are the worst. They just take anything and make
Sickening.
stuff up like they did with the Ashley Biden's diary. You heard about
Right.
that?
Yeah.
I'm so sick of these people. I don't know what
Right.
to do.
Well, the system was built for them and it was
Mm.
built to keep us in a certain position. And
Yeah,
that's the thing that a lot of people
Absolutely,
don't
Coy.
want to say out loud or admit. They'll do everything else
Absolutely,
but to
Coy.
admit that.
yeah,
And that's why they say the system is just us, as in
Hmm.
yeah,
just us for them. Just
yeah.
for them, just for us doesn't exist.
And that's why when OJ won, because he had the money, they couldn't handle it because
So
people that look
so
like him were supposed to go to jail.
right, but here's the
Regardless of
other
the
thing that they were so clever about, and this is the great thing about having good representation. He had the money to get somebody good like Johnny Cochran, right? And they also knew that despite what they wanted to do is to move the case to the suburbs where a black man held in the murder of two white people would most definitely be found guilty, right? But they said, no, we want to keep the case here in Los Angeles, where we will be judged by a jury of our peers.
yeah,
And that is what Donald Trump did not want. He wanted it moved out of Manhattan, that borough of Manhattan, in order to get people that look like him, that support him, and that don't like Joe Biden.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
they wanted all of these people
Yeah,
who were, lay people. They wanted
yeah.
policemen and firemen and all white people to be on the jury. And
And
the
I,
judge
Yeah, but
said
see,
no.
OJ also benefited from the timing too because they knew they if they had moved OJ's case like they did the Rodney King verdict, moved at the Simi Valley with that
Right,
all white jury,
right.
that's when the city burned again. So they knew if they had moved OJ and let them people do what they was planning on doing to him, the
Yep.
city would have burned again. So they just did it like, look, we can't afford to keep having this city burned down. We just gonna leave it right here in downtown LA.
And that was the genius of having Johnny Cochran, God bless his soul. I mean, it's just like they knew and used the Rodney King because Rodney King wasn't that far in the past,
Mhm.
in which all of those things happened. Justice Clarence Thomas was absent from his job today with no reason given. He did not attend oral arguments at the Supreme Court.
Ooh, I hope he retiring.
Well, he's 75. um, there's always, whenever there's some question about retirement or his health, his state of mental
Mhm.
as well as physical health, they said he would not be taking the bench today, but would participate fully based on the briefs and transcripts from the proceedings. And he is the oldest member of the court, the longest serving current justice, and joined the Supreme Court in 1991. Yes, so we remember that. He missed days of arguments in March of 2022 after spending a week in the hospital admitted with an infection. But there's always, some question about the cases that appear before the Supreme Court having to do with Donald Trump and his wife's affiliation with Donald Trump and others, including his former chief of staff and Donald Trump's, A. Spoon Coons that were a part of the insurrection. And
Mhm.
so it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Now, the other part of this is interesting, and I don't wish death or major illness on anyone. I promise you on my mama's ashes. But this will give Joe Biden, if he should leave the court for whatever reason, this will give Joe Biden another opportunity, unless, and we have a pretty good chance of this because the Democrats have a good chance of getting another person on the court as they did with the first black woman if they can get past that very slim margin in the Senate, right? And
Mhm.
so and it won't be like with President Obama, who had to wait it out with evil Mitch McConnell and not allowing the president's selection for the Supreme Court, just kind of just sit there and wait and wait and wait until the next person. This was at the almost a year before President Obama was to leave office, and they said no, no, it's too soon, and so they just let him cool his heels until they took a chance, and then Donald Trump got into office, and the first of three conservative justices got in, and thus brought down Roe versus Wade as they wanted it to. So the hope is that if Justice Thomas is going to leave, this would give the people an opportunity to give the Democrats another chance at putting one of Joe Biden's justices on the court, and which would, ease that 6-3 majority that they have, that just kind of locks things up.
Ooh-wee.
And does things like make it illegal for a woman to
Yeah,
choose
well,
to get an abortion.
Roe versus Wade, yeah. And
anything else to step us back in the 20s and
well,
the
look
30s.
at what they've done with voting rights, Coy, and and gutting the amendment, the constitutional amendment, taking out what was put in the Voting Rights Act of 1965. They gutted it and said, no, you all have overcome. You don't need this anymore.
Well, as black people,
So,
we never recover from them replacing Thurgood Marshall with Clarence
right.
Thomas. We
That
never
was the
recovered from
biggest.
that.
That was the biggest affront
That's the biggest
George
slap
Bush
in the
ever
face.
did. Yep. And the fact that they allowed a man with such a sordid past, and they wouldn't believe the black woman when she came to testify.
Yeah.
Do they ever?
It's
I
amazing.
mean,
I wish Biden had made Anita Hill
That
the
was
first
my hope
black
too.
woman on the Supreme Court, so she could
Yeah.
grit on him every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Now I'm not mad at Justice Brown. I'm not mad at Ketanji Brown Jackson, but I think that would have just been beautiful.
That would have been
Absolutely
awesome.
beautiful. Yeah.
I'm here.
A big night tonight. The WNBA draft is taking place, and Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are expected to go early. Caitlin Clark, by the way, the word came down, did go as number one, and in the WNBA draft, and she also
really?
yeah.
I would have never thought that. No, I'm just playing.
I'm surprised as you are, Dom. But
I am so shocked that she was number
Who's
one.
number two?
I don't have
Angel
that.
Reese, probably.
I wish that it was. And I
Well,
think it was,
Cardosa in there too, though.
yeah.
Cardoza.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cardoza might be two. Well,
But
Angel Reese and Cardoza.
all I have is right now is that Clark is headed to the Indiana Fever. If anybody has the latest on that, I'm looking. And the damn shame is that she made more money in college than she will in the NBA. But
Oh,
okay.
okay,
Dang.
number two. Wait a minute,
Uh-huh.
hold up. I think, God, look at, I just hit something that bounced off. I think they done said who number two is. Hold on. Cameron Burke.
Oh, that's what Cameron Brink is number two. Says Aubrey W on YouTube.
Okay.
Thank you, Aubrey.
Cameron Brink.
Cameron
Who
Brink
is
is
Cameron
number.
Brink?
Did
I
she
gotta
go to
look up.
Stanford? Was she a Stanford girl?
Let me see if I can find it. Yep.
Yeah, I thought she was a
And
Stanford.
power forward.
Yeah. The beauty is that Dawn Staley's got a young team, and those two young freshmen, or she calls them old school, her freshies, they're going to step up and they're going to continue to bring the heat in the next couple of years.
Don Staley probably gonna win more, just as many championships as Gino Auriemma or
I hope
Pat
so.
Summitt, Pat Hayes
Yeah.
Summit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
she getting everybody. She getting because she's still young. 1 minute before the third pick comes out.
Okay. All
They
right.
got a countdown on ESPN.
Well, let's do the entertainment real quick. Will Smith made a surprise appearance at J Balvin's Coachella set over the weekend, channeling his Men in Black character, Agent J, during the Alien-inspired show. J Balvin surprised fans at Coachella by welcoming Will Smith on stage for a performance that saw the actor recreate his rap and dance moves from the 1997 movie Men in Black. That starred Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones as agents investigating extraterrestrial life on Earth, and fans couldn't get enough of the movie's UFO conspiracy theories, and sequels were released. Too many sequels for me, 2002, 2012, and 2019, but it was good. Everybody said who saw him that it was good to see Big Will on stage over the weekend. So good on him. Let's close out with the Jewel. I'm sorry.
And then he slapped him.
Let's close out with Yogi's Jewel today. Being consistent builds trust as it shows you're reliable and your words match your actions. All right, you can say it, but nothing like letting your walk and your talk match up there. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I wish you a lot of luck with your Indiegogo fundraising. The movie is called We Got Ours. Go to Indiegogo.com and let's help put these ladies over the top and make this the success that they deserve and that we would like to be a part of, and encouraging them in their work.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you,
thank you
Sid.
for having us, Sybil.
My pleasure, always. Your
And
door's always open.
I'm hitting the road, Sid.
Where you going, Dom?
I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama at the Stardome Comedy Club, April the 26th through the 28th. Then I'm heading west to the Stand Up Comedy Club. It's in Bellflower, California, May 3rd through the 4th.
So you don't have to leave the house to travel for that one, do you?
Just Birmingham. No, not that one. Then I'm going to be in the West for a while. Then I'm going to Tommy T's in Pleasanton, California, May the 24th through the 26th. Going to the Comedy Zone, Greenville, South Carolina, May the 10th through the 11th. Said we're going to have to do breakfast. June the 15th, I'm coming to the Majestic Theater in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Then I'll be going to the Green Comedy Zone in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's in August, the 16th to the 17th. And then I'll be Jacksonville Comedy Zone, November the 8th through the 9th. Duval or Birmingham. Let's go. I'll be there. The funny will be in the building. Stardome Comedy Club, Hoover, Alabama, April the 26th to the 28th.
Thank you so much. Alicia, where are you going to be?
Oh, okay. Mine isn't as exciting as Dominique's. I'm going to be doing the Ladies of Laughter tour, May 3rd and 4th. We're going to be in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to be in Seattle and I believe like Portland or something. Way up there. The 3rd and the 4th of May. And then I'm going to be doing some cruises on Holland America. And then for the Maryland people, I'm going to be in Maryland. I'm going to be at Largo at the PG Community College on November 15th. And then Fredericks, Maryland, the Spice Center on November 16th. So yeah, just hit me on Instagram because whenever I'm somewhere, I post on there. Instagram is Alicia Cooper 2023.
Awesome. Yeah, I have some more dates I'll be posting too. They just haven't come. I mean, I haven't.
Camilla Cardoso went to Chicago.
All right,
number 3.
Sky. Okay. Awesome. That's a big
number
girl.
3.
Yeah, number 3, Chicago.
That's a big
Next
girl.
up is the LA Sparks in 2.5 minutes. They go on number 4.
I hope they get Angel Reese.
Oh, awesome. We already hang out there. I would really be there if they get Angel.
Yeah, she doesn't have to change her colors either.
Right. She can keep the same colors.
That's right.
Smooth transition.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much, ladies. We appreciate you. We'll see you again. Don't forget, we got ours. Let's go.